Today we're sitting here with Karen Terry, who is a chemist, and Lisa Zorn, who is a registered dietitian. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to discuss today lots of myths, lots of rumors about food, things that every day we hear people talk about and wonder if they're good, they're bad. There's a lot of controversy around health today. Here we are with obesity almost 50% in this country. Diabetes type 2, you know, what really causes these things? Why is this country out of control with all of these issues, illnesses, diseases? You guys know about the genetic disease that I have, which we can get into, but Karen, you and I just recently met, actually, so how did we get together?
Well, I think it was through some mutual friends that knew we both want healthy lifestyles, and we both see things that are out there that are causing people problems. People in general know they have to move, they have to eat healthy, but what does that really mean? Where and how do we learn that? And I guess I started off in life, I have a degree in chemistry and biochemistry because I couldn't stand to see children sick. There's a lot of genetic diseases. Yeah. And one thing led to another, and being in the chemical industry, and I just feel what I see more and more people in grocery stores, people are getting bigger. They don't know what to buy. They assume, and it's a bad assumption, going into a grocery store, whatever's there is good for you. There's preservatives. You can send products around the world 3 times and it'll still be fresh. Yeah. Is that for your benefit? It's for the company's benefit that they don't have to make more product. Baked goods that have things.
Well, there are preservatives, unfortunately, that we have in this country that have been banned in other countries.
Correct.
There are preservatives such as BHT, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right.
Banned in England 40 years ago.
Right.
Sweden, Australia, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's good. That's how, in talking to you, we could conquer the world this way. Just find, one by one, if people were educated and learned that it tastes good or they need to do this, but there's reasons why. It's amazing, the world of chemicals, what you can do. In fact, chemicals can taste better than the actual food. So I think that's you and I are on the same plane trying to get the same message across.
And Lisa, how did we meet?
It's actually funny. I was taking spinning classes at your studio, and I just remember after each class, people were, leaving your studio with jars and with food, and I would always see people, with these drinks, and I thought, what are they doing? Like, what do they don't even, I was very skeptical, and I said, they don't even know what they're drinking. What is she selling? What's going on here?
What was I promoting?
Yeah, I didn't understand what everyone was drinking. So, and then one day, I got to speak with you. You usually have a lot of members around you and everything. So I got to speak with you, and I noticed your skin, and this is truth. And I just said, "Oh my gosh, your skin is so beautiful."
Are you being serious?
I swear, this is how it happened. And you said, "Oh, have you tried our tea that we have here?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Yeah,
it's called Lion Tea. You can say it. No, it's actually being manufactured now."
Okay, good. I didn't want to sound like an infomercial, but this is how we started to talk. And you said, well, why don't you try it? And I said, you said it really helps your skin. And I said, and then I started asking you, well, what's in it? I don't drink things that have calories. I don't,
See, I think I'm remembering back to what she was talking about. Mm-hmm. I did not know that she was a registered dietitian.
Right, so she still hadn't known what I was or anything. Mm-hmm. She just thought I was a member there and was, was worried about my weight and and I just said, I didn't say it. I usually don't tell people I'm a dietitian when I work out somewhere because I try not to turn it into a job because then it's not a place for me to go and work out anymore. So I really try not to.
Sure.
Because it usually happens where I end up, somehow, some way getting into another end of it, which,
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because I just realized you and I talked about this, and now I remember I'm going back to the day that you actually asked me about the tea, but we talked about stevia. Now,
Right.
I have a question about stevia. I guess I don't know enough about it, but talk to me for a minute about Splenda, Equal, NutraSweet, all the. I have, and obviously you know this because you've gotten to know me well now, I have a serious issue with diet soda. Well, I have a serious issue with all sodas. But what's your opinion on stevia? Is stevia okay? Does stevia really come from a plant, and is it really healthy for you? Or, you know what I get nervous about? And I am extremely serious and intent on making sure that everything that I put into my body actually goes in it for a specific purpose. You know that about me.
Right.
And here I am, I use stevia because I've been told that it's healthy. Is it healthy, or is it one of those things that 20 years from now they're going to do just as they did with NutraSweet and say, oh, now we have discovered. So
Right. Well, there hasn't been long-term studies done in this country,
See that?
but stevia is a plant.
Okay.
So, so it comes from a plant. That doesn't necessarily mean that,
That it is healthy?
that it's healthy, but, it has been approved from, the FDA, and it is a plant, so it's not in the category of an artificial sweetener.
No.
But now you would know that you're the chemist, so.
Is it? What's your opinion about stevia? I mean, I didn't even think that we were going to, I'm sorry if you guys aren't, I didn't know that we were going to talk about stevia today, but it just came to me because of what Lisa brought up. Is it your opinion that stevia is healthy?
Again, going back to what we've talked about before, first of all, everything in moderation. If you drank enough milk, if you drank 6 gallons of milk a day, you'd probably get some disease or something.
Well, of course I don't. Let me just back up for a second or back you up. Not everything in moderation. You know how
Right.
I feel about
Yeah, you're right.
chemicals.
Right.
There are certain things
Chemicals
that
are out.
never in
But
moderation.
plants, you have to be careful because unfortunately we don't know the long-term effects. If you go back to different groups of indigenous people, for example, natives from various parts of the world, wherever, people have used these things, but in such small quantities. If you go back to when, say, the Pilgrims came over, the amount of sugar that people ingested in the original 13 colonies was this much, I don't know, 5-10 pounds a year. Now it's hundreds of pounds a year. So stevia is one of the things that they do need to do, researchers, companies, whoever's going to fund it, whoever has the money for it. Because, I've read different things about it. I'm not that well versed on stevia. Again, you have half a chance. If it comes from the earth, you have half a chance that it's okay for you. But there are things that you wouldn't eat. People, I had a visitor from overseas once. She had mushrooms growing in her country. She thought she could pick mushrooms here. She got very ill. So you really, they don't know the long-term effects. What I can say about artificial sweeteners is people are constantly looking for more and more sweet, and they're not doing your body any good. And who's doing the research on them? Who's saying that it's going to cause cancer or not? Lisa and I were talking, if you look at the midsection of your body, your lungs purify the air, your kidneys, your bladder, everything's a purification system. If you look at your liver as a sponge, if you're making a big mess in your kitchen, you're going to throw that sponge away. How many times can you make a big mess before you have to throw it away? Unfortunately, we can't go buy a new one. So artificial sweeteners are not a good thing for you to have in your body. Things like stevia, we were talking about, like agave is a good alternative.
Well, what's your opinion, since you were talking about big mess in your body, which you know how I feel about eating clean. What's your opinion on raw food diet? Is that too extreme? Should people do that for a short period of time? I mean, I should ask both of you this, but raw food diet, is it, I always say to people, if I meet someone who is on the verge of type 2 diabetes or, I say a raw food diet can actually cleanse your body and start to get you on the right track back to good health, recovery. What's your opinion on raw food diet?
Well, do you know why raw food is good for you? Let's go from there. Everybody talks about a raw food diet. Do you know the basic premise why raw food is good for you?
Nutrients are, everything's there.
Well, there's some things, I believe, and
nothing's destroyed.
Like spinach, I
Cook
think
it.
actually, or tomatoes do you better
Well,
eating it
tomatoes
cooked.
do better. That's right. There are
good.
there are certain things that and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are certain things that if you cook them at a certain temperature, they're
Right.
actually healthier for you,
Correct.
like tomatoes. But aren't most things healthier for you in the raw state?
Vegetables and fruit, yes. And the
Okay.
reason, I don't know if you remember as a kid, when people wanted a diet, a cheap and easy way, well, let's eat celery because you burn 4 calories every piece of celery you eat. Because it's cellulose, your body can't digest it. We're not animals that have that kind of stomach. The reason your body, when you eat raw vegetables and fruit, your body has to work harder. Your body's burning calories. It's like stoking the engine. If it's cooked and it's easy to chew, it's easy to digest, your body's not burning as many calories. You're not getting as many nutrients. When you boil things, or even some cases nuking it, you're sucking the life out of it, basically.
Right.
So it's good for a while, but again, depending on where people are at, and the taste also. People are so used to that sugar. It's so addictive.
And you guys are the experts, so correct me if I'm wrong, but here's what a lot of people ask me at the studio. This is what I say to people. Some people thrive on dairy.
Mm-hmm.
Some people thrive on red beef. Some people thrive on poultry and fish. Some people thrive as a vegan. Some people as a vegetarian. You have to know your body, and you have to you have to keep eating the foods that you feel you thrive on. I'm
Right.
not crazy about dairy. I may eat a little bit, but the body doesn't thrive on garbage, on chemicals, on poisons, on. There's nothing good that comes from drinking a soda. You have to have water. You should be having water when you wake up in the morning. If everybody made a simple change, like waking up every morning and having a glass of water, 2 glasses of water, that's enough of a change for some people to get them right on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about extreme, or we're talking about thriving. What's best? Never garbage. Am I right?
You are.
Never poisons. Never chemicals.
Absolutely.
We're killing
Absolutely.
ourselves. Sometimes I say I meet so many people and I say to them, you're concerned about your child's homework. You're concerned about the discipline of your child. You're concerned about who your children's friends are. Aren't you worried about what they're putting in their mouth? That could be causing all sorts of illnesses and diseases. That could be putting them on the road to, God forbid, cancer.
Well, you're right.
Or am I being?
You're
I know
absolutely right,
sometimes I
Vicky.
get a little serious and I get a little extreme.
She loves what she does, doesn't she? And if you look again where our nation has come from and where it's gone, we don't all have time to be home baking bread. And I remember I had a babysitter, an au pair, that they actually grew everything that they made. And she was wonderful to have because I saw and I learned things. But as our society has evolved, there's no time. Where did fast food come from? Because all of a sudden people have less time. It used to be a treat. Now it's become routine.
Convenience.
And as a working mom, I was always juggling the whole thing. But when I saw my friends that were stay-at-home moms running to McDonald's 3 times a week, I never fed my kids. And I'm very proud of that fact. Even working and traveling, and never ate that stuff. It just wasn't on the docket for the day. So you're right. And this is where we're in a faster and faster everything, the information highway. These things aren't good for you. And companies, being in a capitalist society, we've found ways to make things quicker and better. We were talking about my kids. I remember they had a piece of a tangerine candy. They didn't like the taste of a real tangerine because the candy tasted better. Scientists have found ways to excite your taste buds.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but all the chemicals in food, they cause obesity.
Yes.
People are worried about. People go to, and I don't want to mention that, there are so many programs, lose weight, diet this, diet that. People go back and forth and back and forth. And instead of taking people aside and saying, stop the chemicals are affecting your brain and causing you to crave more of the bad food. Instead of giving that information, they're told, well, go to this program again, take 10 pounds off. Well, you take the 10 pounds off, you haven't learned what foods are causing your brain to crave more of the bad foods. Therefore, you gain 15 instead of 10 back.
Right.
I don't know if I told you, Vicky, my daughter had the opportunity to work in a grocery store when she was in, one of the major chains when she was in high school. And after working a couple of times, she came home one day, and she's a very sharp little cookie. She came home and she said, you know what, Mommy, people that look like you and me are buying ice cream and they're buying bread and they're buying fruit. And the people that are obese and have issues, they're buying the low fat, no fat this and the diet that. Something's not right here.
I eat Haagen-Dazs, but listen, we're going to have to take a break for a second, and we'll come right back.
Okay.
So we're back now with Karen Terry, our chemist, and Lisa Zorn, our registered dietitian, which we apparently have not allowed to speak at all.
A little too passionate.
She is either shy or we're a little overbearing. I opt for shy.
Well, I was trying to get my word in, and I kind of felt like the outcast here because we have two extremes, and I'm the RD, the food expert in the middle, registered dietitian, and I'm not as extreme as that. I'm definitely healthy. I've always been healthy. You know, I haven't had a hot dog or a hamburger or, you know, any kind of red meat in about 25 years. But, you know, I will occasionally, sorry Vicky, drink a diet soda.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
All right,
because
all right,
sometimes it's just what I crave it sometimes. You know, maybe it's part of the chemical in there. I don't know. Sometimes it's, I don't want water.
Now,
I
see,
don't
I didn't
want,
know that about you, Lisa,
yes,
but are you serious? No,
I'm sorry. No, yeah, I do. Once
Even
in a while.
though you know from your professional life the chemicals that are in the diet soda.
Yes, but one diet soda, you know, once every couple of days
All right.
is not, you know, I don't,
Now we're
I
at a-
personally don't think it's going to kill me. You know, anyway, so that's part of
Okay.
it, you know.
All right.
Well, how I became a dietitian, I'll just say, just because it'll make sense, is that I've always been into being healthy, and it was always about wanting to be in shape and, you know, stay, you know, a good weight. And so when I first started, you know, deciding what I wanted to go to college for, I didn't know there was a major in nutrition. No one ever told me that. So I was majoring in phys ed, I was measuring all these things that were related to health, but it wasn't enough. And then finally, a counselor said to me, why don't you become a dietitian? I said, what's that? And they said, it's a nutrition major. And that is how I, you know, got into nutrition and was so excited about it that I could actually get a degree in it. So I consider myself healthy. You know, I have, you know, a child, and she has never had fast food. She, you know, every time we go to a party, you know, parents always assume, oh, we'll give the kids chicken fingers. The kids are going to eat the chicken fingers. My daughter will not eat chicken fingers. She doesn't know what fried food is. But, of course, she hasn't had soda. I don't ever want her to drink soda. She, you know, she's still young. But I'm not to the extreme where, you know, a raw diet to me it'd be a great thing. Sure, would I love to be able to do that? Definitely. But is it realistic in a lifestyle? I don't know if you have the time, you know. Socially, how would you do it? You know, to me, it would be a challenge.
But so can I just ask you
Sure,
a question?
sure,
And, and I know I can tell that you think I'm a little extreme, and that's okay. But so you drink diet soda once in a while, maybe every couple of days. I don't know. I don't want to ask. Would you be happy if your child drank it?
No, and that's the thing. Like,
Okay.
You know, she at this point hasn't ever asked for it or to have a sip or to try it, which is good. She's only 3, my daughter. I have a 3-year-old. So, but no, I wouldn't like it. And but anyway, once in a while I crave it, and my thing has always been on weight maintenance. So to me, it's something that I crave that's sweet, but yet it's calorie free. You know, is it good? No, but it definitely does for me meet helps with a sweet craving.
I guess. See, that's.
But it's not a good thing. I'm not saying that people should drink soda.
I understand.
I'm just saying, you know, that, you know, I would consider myself healthy. I know a lot about food. My family eats healthy, but we're just, you know, I'm realistic about it. I'm sure you are too in your lifestyle.
My only problem is that I think that there are so many illnesses and diseases and cancer that I'm afraid that 20 or 30 years from now, that someone's going to say, this specific cancer is directly related to diet soda. And then what are we going to do?
But diet soda's been around for a long time already.
And Karen, I mean,
know.
you
How
would
many
know the
people have
stats.
cancer?
That's
I know,
right.
and a lot of brain tumors. There is a.
That's right.
what's the word I'm looking for? A comparison from the amount of diet soda and the amount of artificial sweeteners is right in line with the increased rate of
Exactly.
brain tumors.
Yes.
And they find diabetics get the brain tumors, and it's because of all of the artificial sweeteners. Yes, I know. But when I say I have one diet soda every 3 days, I consider that to be
Moderation.
Okay. I'm not someone who's putting artificial sweetener in my cereal, on my grapefruit, just all day long, diet candy. That I think is
I guess what scares me
not
is
good.
I'm afraid that we don't know what amount causes damage.
That's correct.
Right? We don't know what amount
That's
causes
absolutely
damage.
correct.
Therefore, for me and my family and my friends, I say absolutely none. And I know that you think that's extreme, but I'm just afraid that we don't know what amounts. I mean, look at in your profession. You were telling me that you were a what's it called, a bariatric?
I worked for a bariatric physician, yes.
And
so
so-
I counseled patients before they would have the surgery, because it's actually required. In order for insurance to cover for a patient to get that surgery,
Yeah.
they have to see nutrition counseling for 6 to 8 months consecutively, depending on which insurance it is, for them to cover it, because they're hoping that they're going to learn how to eat and maybe not get the surgery. Maybe they'll lose weight through counseling, or that they'll learn enough that they won't gain the weight back, because there's people that get that surgery and then they gain the weight back.
And so what are the, I mean, and there's no, see, here's the thing, there's no secret to it. You, in your professional life, every single day, you mostly came across people who were, correct me if I'm wrong, but 500, 600, 700 pounds, right?
I've seen
a lot of weight to lose,
yes,
right?
I have counseled patients up to 600 pounds. But I've also, I've done a lot of different, areas of nutrition, and I've also counseled, someone that just became overweight, and then because of that got type 2 diabetes, because it's genetic, but they probably could have controlled it if they didn't gain a lot of weight, if they stayed active. People that, they get out of college and then they start their career and then they're less active and then they eat more, and all those things cause type 2. So yes.
Just thinking about this because you and I have had these conversations because you helped me with the menu planning at the studio.
Yes.
And you specifically said to me, I've asked you to do menus specifically for type 2 diabetes. And you made an interesting comment to me one day, and you said, if we all ate the way people with diabetes
Are supposed to eat,
no one would ever
It'd be
get
great.
it. That's right.
It's actually, sometimes it's actually a blessing in disguise when someone's diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, because they get scared and then they are forced to eat the proper portion sizes, to eat healthier, and the weight comes off. Usually their blood sugar drops back to normal, and they don't need to be on the medication anymore. So if we all followed portions,
But see, the scary thing is people don't realize that, though, Lisa. I mean, you and I have had many
know.
conversations like this. You can have a little bit of whole wheat pasta.
Right.
You can have a little bit of brown rice. You can have a piece of bread. You just can't get a huge bowl and fill it with pasta. We're not supposed to eat that way. So people don't realize it's not about a diet. It's about a lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
A little bit, portions.
long term. It's
Long-term lifestyle
It's not a
change.
fix because you want to fit
Yeah.
into a dress for a wedding.
Right. But do you think this is something that could be taught at an earlier age in school? We all know about diets and what you're supposed to eat, but why do so many people get to that size? You can't think it's healthy to eat a piece of meat this big or a bowl this big. How do you get, start teaching this to the
is where
children?
they learn
You're right.
from their
Education,
family.
education in the school is really, really important. That is something that I would like to work towards, doing some great things with young
Yes.
children and getting to them and teaching them how to eat healthier and
Right.
be healthier.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you, ladies. This was quite a pleasure today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little extreme. I know you're not as extreme, but Karen kind of joins me in
That's
that.
all,
in
right.
that.
We're both on that same soapbox. One person at a time, and you
That's
hopefully
right.
help
Changing
to
the world
change
one
the world.
person at a time.
Right.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.